delivering this true-to-football level of authenticity.
There's so much more detail and realism.
But will these new animations be everywhere?
Never before seen animations. Authentic.
More authentic.
Authenticity.
Authentic gameplay.
As authentic as possible.
Great.
So FIFA's been getting worse and worse in recent years. FIFA 17 was arguably the peak, FIFA 18 there was a small decline, and then FIFA 19 it fell off a cliff into the depths of hell, and we have not had a playable game since. It's partly because EA decided to dip their grubby little hands into the eSport scene, even though they show controller overlays during a shootout worth $150,000. Seriously, how the hell is that even real? It's also because the game itself is just not nearly as good as it was in previous years. We see multiple people complain about it. We've seen Italian Stallion's in-depth video about how attacking AI has fallen off since FIFA 17, and we also saw Inception's yearly 2-hour rant about how FIFA is a terrible video game. However, I say these things are partly the problem because we still had a fairly successful esport paired with a decent game in FIFA 17, meaning it can be done. The reason why FIFA sucks now is because of this insistence on hyper-realism.
I just want to smash people. Nobody's getting by me.
Great.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be any realism. Let me say that again. There should be some realism in FIFA because, as we've seen in the past, the game can be completely ruined with a lack of realism, like with El Tornado flick-up crosses to the back post, La Croquetas from kickoff, constantly going near post, using the bridge skill move every chance you get, using the Elastico skill move every chance you get, step over pace boost, Travellas from 30 yards out, Travellas from 30 yards out with a center back with 50 shooting, hitting a damn bicycle kick first time from outside of the box off of a goddamn corner. And the people abusing these mechanics are complaining about women being an Ultimate Team. Color me shocked. So yes, a lack of realism can obviously be a problem. So not only do you need a balance between realism and this arcade style gaming, you need the right type of realism and arcade style gaming. Let me explain. The right balance, at least in my opinion, is being more arcade style because that's going to be quicker, more skill based, more and better attacking AI, less defensive AI handholding, because after all, it is an esport. A bad esport, but an esport nonetheless. Maybe a 75 versus 25 split between arcade style versus realism, but again, that's just my opinion. But how about the right types of realism versus arcade? Basically the implementation of both. So let's start with the realism. The right types of realism to be implemented are essentially anything that stops spamming and crazy things from happening. El Tornado flick-up crosses, for example. It's not realistic, it's about spamming, and it's insane to even have it come off once or twice, let alone having it be a meta in an esport.
Pros are using and appreciating and scoring a lot of goals.
Wiggling at the top of the box and using an Elastico every time. Again, not realistic, not skill-based, and you aren't making important decisions. You're spamming something over and over until it works because the ball phased through my defender's leg. In terms of implementing the correct arcade style, it should be about rewarding players and limiting randomness. If I make a tackle, I should be getting it around 90 to 95% of the time, but as we all know, the 2-tackle tax is a very big thing this year. Another example, let's say I get into a shooting opportunity 1v1 against the keeper, and let's say I do everything correctly, meaning the right type of shot, the right shot power, I'm the correct distance away from the goalie, it's on my player's strong foot, etc. I should be making that shot literally 100% of the time, regardless of who I use. Voland, that's a goal. 73 rated midfielder, that's a goal. A 47 rated off-chem goalkeeper, that should be a goal every single time. It doesn't matter if it's realistic that it goes in every time, because in real life, Messi or Ronaldo misses some of these chances. The skill gap is not making the shot, that's the easy part. The skill gap is being good enough to break down your opponent and get to that shooting opportunity. On a larger scale, the skill gap should be about decision making, reading and reacting to what's happening in front of you. However, the game is seemingly trying to take away the skill gap because then EA can't push the narrative that everyone can win. The result is a game that's trying to both be an esport with simulation tendencies, two complete opposites. Throw in the fact that EA is making the game. At the end of the day, there has to be an emphasis of one over the other, arcade or realism, with EA committing to one of those two, but not both. I said before that I would prefer the arcade style because it's an esport, it's quicker, it has the potential to reward your players more, and in general, it's just more fun. However, if EA went down the opposite route with hyper-realism and simulation-based gameplay, meaning there's no esport involved, then I'd be content with that too, because then my mindset changes going into it. Football Manager Manager is a great example of a simulation-based game. There is a skill gap in it, in that someone who has played for a long time can consistently beat someone who is brand new, but it's also realistic, meaning during the match, anything could happen. Your star striker could miss multiple sitters, leaving you with an XG of 2.7 compared to your opponent of 0.3, and you can lose. Is that frustrating? Yes, absolutely, and I have been at the end of that multiple times, and I hate it so much. However, I go into it thinking, yeah, I could get screwed over here because it's simulation based and realistic, and while that's still frustrating, I don't get angry. However, in FIFA, again, in eSport, what happens when I expect a supposed skill-based game to reward a skill-based decision?
Open net, you cannot miss this, there's no chance. And that is his... Wait, what? What?
Authentic gameplay.